From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And coming up on the show today, we have some more Hailey Bieber and Justin Bieber drama to bring you. I know everyone's talking about Scooter Braun, but there's actually something that was, or two things actually, that were on Hailey Bieber's Insta story that are much more explosive than that we need to talk about. Plus, our favourite online gal, Amelia Dimoldenberg, the chicken shop date lady,
love her,
is caught up in a drama with one of our other favourite online performers, Bowen Yang.
Yes, it's very controversial.
Yes. The drama's not between them, but we'll get to it. This is my favourite story from the weekend. But first, we have some Hollywood news, right?
We have some casting announcements. There's two very, very anticipated sequels coming up. Now, the Devil Wears Prada 2 casting update. Mm-hmm. So, we're obviously all very excited about this, but I'll give you some of the casting updates that we've got as of today. Lucy Liu is joining the cast. Amazing.
That is my favourite bit of the casting news from this whole thing, because obviously Lucy Liu, Charlie's Angels, we know she's been in so many amazing movies and TV shows. Yeah.
Okay, do you know the bit that I'm thinking? So the speculation is she's going to be a rival editor. So all I can think about is, you know the scene in Charlie's Angels where she plays the dominatrix?
Yes.
Ooh, Barracuda.
Yeah,
you know
that
scene?
one.
That's what I'm picturing in my head.
That and also her very short-lived TV series, Cashmere Mafia, where she plays a magazine editor. I don't know if you've watched this. It was on literally 20 years old now, but it was meant to be the replacement from Sex and the City. And it was about four best friends living in New York with all of these glamorous jobs and their relationships. And it only kind of went for I think one season, maybe 1.5. It ended because of the writer's strike and they just never brought it back. But she was so good in that role. So the fact that she could come back playing a magazine editor, I'm like, justice for Cashmere Mafia.
Okay, I never saw that one.
I feel like you'd like it.
I think I would. I love Lucy Liu. Justin Theroux is also on board. We don't know what his role's going to be just yet. I feel like
that man just shows up in everything, right?
He does. I feel like wasn't he was in Charlie's Angels too.
He was in Charlie's Angels as well.
Yeah, he was the Irish.
The amount of
the gang guy. What was his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, I thought he was really hot back then.
Yeah, and he's still hot now. I just feel like whenever I'm watching something like Running Point recently, the Kate Hudson show, and it's like, is that Justin Theroux? Yeah, it is. He just pops up
he's
everywhere.
Just in everything. BJ Novak, we love him from The Office. We don't know what he's playing. Pauline Chalamet, no relation to Timothy?
His sister.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So she's in Sex Lives of College Girls.
I haven't watched that show yet.
Yes. So she's his sister.
I feel like I should know that.
Simone Ashley. There's just two Chalamets floating around Hollywood.
Simone Ashley from Bridgerton also being cast. And Kenneth Branagh, who is going to be playing Miranda Priestley's husband.
I'm so excited by that. That's genius casting.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I'm sure the Devil Wears Prada team know what they're doing, but I've been quite stressed about their timeline, so I'm glad they're getting a wiggle on, because this movie's coming out next year.
Yeah,
and quite soon, because I get the movie release schedules of what's coming out for the next year. And so the official release date for Devil Wears Prada came out in one of the latest reports. And it's not that far away for a movie that, as far as I know, has not been shot yet.
I feel like, though, with these it's not like it's going to have a ton of special effects. They're not going to have to do a lot of post-production on it.
Yeah.
They can do a 6-week shooting schedule and then turn it out. You know,
I
I know how to make a movie.
I know. That's the thing is you hear of these movies being still edited the day before. Even with the recent Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise at the premiere was we've just finished editing this movie yesterday, so none of us have seen it.
But that's because of all the effects. You're going to have practical effects, stunt work, CGI. A movie like Devil Wears Prada 2 is not going to have a ton of CGI and practical effects.
No, I know, but still, even the editing process, that's always that's a make or break for a movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm stressed about their workload and timeline. I'd love them to get it together. I think
you're
we're
so
playing,
type A.
I know. I think we're just playing it a bit. Devil Wears Prada team. I think we're playing it a bit fast and loose. Is all I'm going to say.
The other sequel that I'm super excited about is Practical Magic 2. This has been in the works for a while, but we do have a bit of a casting update. Evan Rachel Wood is not going to be returning as in her role. She basically let out a statement saying that she actually wasn't approached, that she wanted to return, and she was disappointed that she didn't get to return in the role. She says, I regret disappointing the fans. This decision was beyond my control. I would have eagerly reunited with my sisters.
Yeah, this is so interesting. So we've had this news for many months now that Practical Magic is coming back, and it's really being spearheaded by the stars of the movie, so Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. So for anyone who's not across, even though we've talked about this pod so many times, I hope you've all gone and watched it since I last had an emotional breakdown about it.
Yeah, this you just told me that Em hadn't seen it,
Yeah.
and
she still hasn't.
Yeah, that makes me
And that's
really
why she's off the pod
angry.
today. I'm
It just makes me really angry. It's like how angry you got at me last week for not knowing Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, we're still in a fight about
Yeah.
that, by the way. But this film came out in 1998. It has gone on to be like a complete cult classic. Like, I feel like a lot of us have kind of built our lives around it, shaped our lives around it. So my friends and I, we still quote the movie. Like, it's become a huge thing. So Sandra and Nicole, who play the sisters, have been a driving force in getting it back. It's the same director who directed Sandra Bullock in Bird Box and also directed Nicole Kidman in The Perfect Couple. So I feel like they're the driving force behind getting the movie back.
I just keep getting these flashbacks. It's such a nostalgic movie for me. Like, I remember going and watching it with my mum, and then all of a sudden I was a witch.
Same.
We were
I still
talking about
think
this before we started recording about how I would collect like flowers and go to the bubbler in primary school and like make potions. But yeah, this movie was just so like the one blue eye, one brown, and like her creating the man, and the man comes, and then the dead body in the background. It's like such a cult movie.
It's so good. And so when it was announced it was coming back, it was mostly just Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman attached, which, you know, they're the Owen sisters. That's the main thing. But over the weekend, they put out some new casting news. And so they said new additions to the cast include Joey King, Lee Pace, Maisie Williams, Solly McLeod. But the biggest casting news was that Stockard Channing and Diane Wiest, who played their aunts in the movie. So if you're not across the movie, it's like the Owen sisters are raised by their aunts because this is whole thing of like, you know, the men in their family are cursed to die. So it was such big news that we've almost got that core foursome back together. And that was the interesting thing about Evan Rachel Wood, because she plays in the movie Sandra Bullock's daughter, Kylie, and she's got quite a few kind of big scenes. And the fact that she put out that statement saying, I approached them and offered my services, and she said, I said I would come back in any capacity, a scene, a line, anything, and I was told my services weren't needed. And at the end where she's like, I would have loved to rejoin my sisters, that's so pointed. And it feels very pointed at Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman in particular, because they are the ones who are bringing the movie back. Like, it feels like the buck stops with them.
Yeah, it feels it's to me a very, very strange response to not include her, especially when she wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
Evan Rachel Wood is an excellent actress.
And she's got such witchy vibes.
I don't know if you watched Westworld. Did you watch that?
I loved her in Westworld. I also loved her in True Blood, where she plays the vampire queen.
Yeah.
She's played so many supernatural characters over the years, and she looks so much like Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman.
Yeah,
and the whole thing is that each group of sisters is a brunette and a redhead, and she's got that red. Anyway, it's just such a weird thing.
Bizarre. I don't know why they did this, but recasting with Joey King. I know Joey King has got like but I just would much prefer Evan Rachel Wood in it.
So would I. And I almost feel like this is sometimes a bit of like friends hiring friends. And I don't mean to start drama.
It's Nepo babies.
Yeah, by extension. So we don't know who everyone's playing yet, but Joey King's name is on the cast list. She acted with Nicole Kidman in that movie with Zac Efron. She plays her daughter in that, where Nicole Kidman starts dating her daughter's boss, which is Zac Efron. Joey King's in that. And they have a really close relationship. They've talked about it heaps. They've been friends for a long time. They're really close, especially after being in that movie together. So is this a case of, which I guess actors and producers do, they bring in people they like to work with, but is this a case of her bringing Joey King in to be her daughter over Evan Rachel Wood?
I don't know, but Joey
Not
King
her daughter, sorry. It would be Sandra Bullock's daughter, because that's who it is. Unless Nicole Kidman's character has a daughter at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think she's... It's interesting to say that she's recast, because Joey King is quite a bit younger than Evan Rachel Wood.
Yeah.
So it's a weird... bit ageist,
But she could,
quite frankly.
But if they're saying like maybe 10 years has passed since the original movie,
but the girl,
she would only be like in her mid-20s.
Yeah, I know, but Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman have not... Like,
yeah,
there's some timing is off here.
Well, that's the thing.
Concerned.
We don't know the timeline. It could be 10 to 20 years, but I think you can slot an actress of that age, and you can slot her into kind of be anything. She might not be their daughter. We don't know, but that's just what I'm thinking. So it's kind of interesting that this movie that is shaped to be about like sisterhood and women coming together has now kind of been marred by this.
Yeah,
to an extent for the fans.
I got to say, I'm really disappointed, and it makes me very concerned for the sequel.
Yeah, like I still think the sequel will be great, but it has left a bit of sour taste in fans' mouths. I wonder what Nicole and Sandra will say about it. I don't think they'll have to address it until they're doing press for the movie, which is so far away. So maybe they're hoping people will have forgotten by then.
They probably will.
I won't have forgotten.
I also feel like Sandra Bullock is like the nicest woman in Hollywood.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure neither of them were like, we're going to take down Evan Rachel Wood. I'm thinking that her reps contacted their reps and they were like, no, we've already cast the movie. And we didn't even factor you into it.
That's so sad.
Maybe this will be like when, oh my God, I'm going to talk about Gilmore Girls again. Maybe this will be like when, just take a moment, when Melissa McCarthy heard that they were redoing Gilmore Girls and she was asked about it in the press and she was like, I didn't know anything about it. No one asked me to come back. And then they factored her in with like a little cameo. Maybe that'll happen this time.
Maybe.
We
could be so lucky. Okay, Beliebers. Justin is back with his 7th studio album. He released Swag on the 11th of July. Kind of surprised everyone with this release. We kind of knew he was working on new music, but there was no announcement. There was no suggestion. It just kind of got dropped.
It's very Beyonce of him just to drop an album like that. Yeah.
We're so in tune.
Oh, I know. I love this for us.
I was literally going to say the same thing. Very Beyonce of him to just drop an album. Now, I did listen to it. It's actually quite good.
I don't mind. I'm the wrong person to ask because even though I think Justin Bieber, obviously he's like, I know that people love his music.
Be
and
careful.
I very much respect
Be
that.
careful.
I would never offend the Beliebers, especially because, mostly his fans for the most part were young women and I feel like their music taste gets dismissed a lot. So I'm all in with them, loving him. I have so many friends that are obsessed with him even now. It's just not my sort of type of music. So it's hard for me to gauge how this stacks up against some of his past hits. But all the responses I saw to it, people were reacting online over the weekend when everyone was listening to it. So many of his fans were like quite emotional over his music coming back and they were like, once a believer, always a believer. So many people were being like, I loved his music in high school and now I'm a grown like adult ass woman, like in my car singing along to his new album, Some Things Never Change. Like I feel like it was a very positive response.
Yeah, look, it has been quite positive. I also think it's really interesting because it's been quite a while since he released an album and our Beliebers have actually grown up. You know, these fans aren't 12 years old anymore. They're not 14. They're not there screaming, trying to grab his hand. I'm looking at you, Manisha, our producer who grabbed his hand at a concert one time. She's very excited about it. So they've grown up a little bit. You know, they're in their late 20s now, early 30s, and it's interesting to see how his music has shifted. Now, Scooter Braun did actually release a statement saying that this album is the, quote, the most authentically Justin Bieber album to date. So he seems to have still quite a positive relationship with him, even though he's not involved with this project at all. But I think that's probably just a surface level thing. Yeah, that's my gut.
Well, I think because Scooter Braun had been so sort of wrapped up in Justin Bieber's career for such a long time, and he also has tried not to say too many negative things about him in the press. I think he's very aware of like angering fans, the same way he feels very burnt by like Taylor Swift's fans, and he's been trying to dig himself out of that hole for a really long time. So yes, he called Swag beautiful, raw, and truly him. But then Hailey Bieber jumped into the fray, our favorite always online girl, so aware of what the people are saying, and almost like the moment after Scooter Braun put up that praise of Justin Bieber, Hailey Bieber put up this photo of herself on her Instagram where she was like doing like a bit of a side eye, and then she added the Mariah Carey song Obsessed. A lot of people thought Hailey Bieber was giving side eye to Scooter Braun.
Why are you so obsessed with me?
Exactly that, and saying that he was overly obsessed with her husband in his new release. So that just fired the fans up against Scooter Braun anyway. But Hailey's Instagram has been also the kind of big talking point over the last couple of days, almost as much as Justin Bieber's album release. Like I feel like I saw more headlines about her response to it than I saw about his actual music, because again, people are looking for that drama. Because Hailey put up a photo of the cover art for his album, which is really lovely. It's all these beautiful black and white photos of the couple and their 10-month-old son, Jack Blues. And it's this really sweet family portrait. And it's kind of interesting the tack she decided to take with it, because obviously Justin has put this cover art on because a lot of criticism of him has been that he treats his wife really badly, that he's not a present father for his son, that their relationship is really bad behind the scenes. So he's using this album art obviously to kind of be like, look at us, this beautiful family. And Hailey's reposted it, but the line she chose to put under it was, "Is it finally clocking to you fucking losers?" Did you see that? And what are your thoughts?
Gagged.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a strong choice. This is the thing about this. I'm trying to like sort of process it over the weekend and be like, I know a lot of people were just like loving her drama, and a lot of people were also kind of thinking it was so embarrassing. And I think I kind of sit somewhere in the middle, because part of me always thinks about just how tormented that young woman is over this fandom. Like, you say her fandom are, like, Justin Bieber's fandom are adult women now, and that's factually true, but they don't act like it a lot of the time. These adult women are the ones, like, 16-year-olds aren't being like, oh my God, Selena and Justin Bieber. Like, they don't care about that. That's like their grandparents' love story to them. You know what I mean? The people who were in the fray of that are now in their 30s, and it feels like they're the ones who are typing all these hate comments to Hailey Bieber. They're the ones waiting outside the Met Gala and yelling Selena when they walk through. Yeah. Like, it's adult women doing it.
Do you know what's crazy though? She's had enough.
She's I always think of that.
Over it.
I always think of that in that TikTok she put up ages ago now, where she was like, leave me alone. I don't do anything. I don't say anything. Just leave me alone. And that went crazy viral. And it's interesting that she could have just put that up to be this beautiful thing. Instead, she's like, is it fucking clocking to you losers yet? Which is maybe a bit of a throwback to that kind of infamous statement that Justin Bieber yelled at paparazzi not that long ago, where he was like, get away from me. Is it clocking to you what you're doing? So some people think it's a play on that. But I just think it's her trying to be like, look at this. Like,
yeah, I think, look, I get it. I think if I was in that situation, not that I ever would be, but it's a lot of pressure. Like, yes, they're wealthy. Yes, that's kind of what they signed up for. That's fame, the price of fame, all of that stuff. I understand that. But at the end of the day, I can understand why you have a child, you're in a relationship. Can you imagine every single day seeing multiple articles saying you're going to split up, your husband's a drug addict, he's falling asleep, he's a horrible father, he's going to rehab, he's got no money, he's broke, everything, you're the sugar like, can you imagine day after day after day after day hearing that same thing? You'd get fed up too.
Oh, 100%. And that Hailey Bieber's only 28 years old, but I feel the exhaustion of life that from her coming through the screen. But what I kind of find more interesting is like, and what's more indicative of like what their life is like behind the scenes is not how they've dealt with their trauma recently, not how they've reacted to accusations from people that Justin's work with that he's in this downward spiral, accusations around their money situation, accusations around Selena Gomez. Like, still, what I think is more telling is how they react publicly to their successes. And I think it shows how kind of in turmoil they are behind the scenes. Because just think when Hailey Bieber got her Vogue cover and what a huge win that is. Like, it's kind of the ultimate prestige. It's the ultimate like nod from the industry that you're a tastemaker. And instead of that being this big celebration, everyone was really focused on Justin Bieber saying that he never thought his wife would get a Vogue cover, and that blew up and it became this really sad thing. And it's almost like history repeated itself this weekend when Justin Bieber's very long-awaited next album came out, and that was this huge thing, and everyone should have been celebrating that. Instead, everyone's just talking about Hailey Bieber's post saying, is it clocking to you fucking losers? And then once again, their success becomes drama, becomes sadness.
Yeah, it's like every single time something positive happens to them, it's marred by
one of
negativity.
Them, but it's one of them saying
yes,
it.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just because they can't, I feel like they are so in their heads about the negativity and what people in the industry are saying, what their fans are saying, that even when they have good news, they can't share it without a kind of like, look at us, we're doing great, or look at us, like, we don't believe all the hate that's
you're
out
right.
there.
So that's a great take, Laura Brodnick. That's a fantastic. I like that one a lot.
So I would love for this couple who I weirdly I shouldn't be invested in, because I'm not obsessed with Hailey Bieber's like stuff, even though I think she's like gorgeous and stuff, I'm not like obsessive in her camp. I don't listen to Justin Bieber music, but because they're like in the spotlight so much and because they've talked so much about the effect on them, I'm weirdly rooting for them being like, yeah, I'd love people to leave them alone, but they're perpetuating the cycle.
They need to get out of their own way.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
My only thought to them is like, guys, next time you have good news, just post it and be like, look at this fun thing, and then put your phone down. That's all I would say to them. And let the news cycle pick up something good about you for once. I feel like they need a PR advisor, and I'm not saying it has to be me, but maybe it should be. But
are you putting your hand up?
Yeah, I'll add that to my list of things I'm going to do this year.
Amazing. I love that take so much.
So it's a slightly bad day on the internet to be Taylor Lorenz. So Taylor Lorenz, very well-known writer in the industry. She's having a slightly bumpy weekend because, and I realize what I'm about to say is so online, but just stay with me for a second while I explain to you what's happening here. So Bowen Yang and Matt Rogers co-host a very funny podcast, if anyone hasn't listened to it, called Los Culturistas. And they have, in the last couple of days, unveiled the nominations for their annual Los
Culturistas Cultural Awards.
Thank you for jumping in there.
Work on your Spanish, LB.
Everyone knows my pronunciation is just bad in general. So one of the awards that they've got in there is that Amelia Dimoldenberg, the founder and host of the huge viral since YouTube interview show Chicken Shop Date, is nominated for the Pop Crave Award for Excellence in Journalism. So before we delve into what that means, we should look at this tweet from Taylor that has now gone a bit viral. And she said, "I love Dimoldenberg, and I'm extremely anti-gatekeeping when it comes to journalism, but this is straight up not journalism," which has got a whole backlash. And it's not in defense of Amelia Dimoldenberg. It's people saying, does this cultural journalist not understand that these cultural awards are meant to be a joke? And the Pop Crave Award for Excellence in Journalism is in itself a joke. If you don't know what Pop Crave is, how do I even explain Pop Crave? Pop Crave is... like my whole life has been developed to this moment. I can't explain it. It's an online entertainment pop culture platform. It kind of like really rose to huge prominence many years ago, but it's also really well known for not having like faces of journalists attached to it, and also for just coming out and just saying wild shit.
Like Daily Mail.
Stuff. Yeah, exactly. But almost worse than that, because it has sometimes like a bit of a fantasy element to it, in terms of it'll just be like, this happened. Everyone's like, no, it didn't. And Pop Crave will be like, yeah, it did. And we don't care to fact check.
Yeah.
My favorite Pop Crave memory is when they called the election the first time Donald Trump was made president, and everyone was like worried it was going to happen. They're like, we're just reporting it as fact. And then that took off, that he had won the election before he officially had, and people were trying to trace it back. And then someone's like, who actually said this? And someone's like, it was Pop Crave. Like, they called the election and the whole world reported on it. They have very immense power, but they're not a proper news outlet, which is the whole point of Amelia being nominated in that section.
This poor girl has kind of realised her mistake, then gone back and gone, I made a boo-boo. Yeah. Literally, it's almost basically what she says. She's like, I really screwed up here.
Yeah, so even though this has blown up to be kind of a huge online storm, like at the time of recording, I don't think Amelia has responded, but like some people have jumped into the fray. Yeah?
Well, Bowen did actually respond. I love him so much. So Taylor on Twitter, X, someone wrote, imagine being upset about a Los Culturistas Culture Award. Then she responds, it happened to me. I did a bad tweet. And then writes, it was all worth it. And in it, she puts up a screenshot from Bowen Yang saying, Diva, I love you. You're, of course, nominated next year.
Oh, that's so nice. God, I freaking love Bowen Yang. Only because, like, I know we're making light of it, but I can't stress enough, guys, how much this woman was getting absolutely roasted and pulled over the coals by so many people, because she just kind of, like, tapped the wrong corner of the internet, and they so fired up about it.
And the thing is, because Chicken Shop Date it's so satirical. Yeah. It's so dry. It is like, that is her vibe. Like, she knows she's not like a quote unquote real journalist. She's having fun. She plays it by comedy. It's like Between Two Ferns, but like a little bit more serious. Yeah. I'm sure you guys have all seen it. But it's just such a funny, I feel like she just kind of had a brain fart.
Yeah. No, I actually think this is why I think this is interesting. I think that this was just the straw that broke the camel's back to a bigger problem that so many entertainment journalists are having. And she saw that, and it just kind of, and again, I would almost do the same thing as well. This is why, like, when I saw this, I was so on her side, because I was like, I just can see exactly how this happened, that she saw that, and it just made all this resentment that she's been feeling about how her industry is working at the moment bubble up, and she lashed out the wrong thing to make a point that she still stands by, because she was saying that Amelia Dimoldenberg is not a journalist because she's an online personality. And yes, this is a joke award, but the thing is, like, Amelia Dimoldenberg is still held up as an entertainment journalist in a proper sense, in a lot of respect, in terms of that she is often put into that category. She gets access to talent for interview opportunities over, like, more traditional journalists. She gets a spot on the red carpet to, like, big award shows, including the Oscars, to interview the talent. So she, even though she calls herself not a proper journalist, she's playing in the journalism space.
Well, and she's getting, I think the biggest thing there is she's getting access, and it's in the sort of the same vein as, like, an Alex Cooper Call Her Daddy.
Yeah.
So when Call Her Daddy started, she wasn't interviewing celebrities. That was never her show.
Yeah.
Her show developed into kind of like a sit-down interview with celebrities. And a lot of the criticism with Alex Cooper, I actually think she's doing an okay job.
Yeah.
You can tell she's quite green, but I do think she's actually doing, I don't think she's doing terribly, honestly.
No, it's, yeah.
But a lot of the criticism around her is that she doesn't know how to interview.
Yeah.
So, and I think you and I can have some criticisms about it, but I think what's happened is that the space of entertainment journalism has been taken over a lot by, like, influencers and personalities. And what happens is, particularly on red carpets, I say this most on red carpets, you see that inexperience come through, and it becomes very uncomfortable. Like that moment where, you know, the Megan Thee Stallion?
Yeah, with Hannah Berner from Big League
Yeah,
Squad.
so when she like made that kind of passive-aggressive comment.
Yeah.
That microaggression to Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah, she said, your music makes me want to fight. And Megan was like, that's not the big takeaway.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
weird.
And then there was this whole uproar that Hannah Berner had, done a microaggression against her. Hannah Berner then apologized, and it kind of all went away. But it was just one of those things where it was like just another kind of case of this, like, influencer versus reporter versus comedian kind of thing happening.
And it's because it shows their inexperience when they're on a carpet like this. But I don't want to get too serious about this, but I understand that you know, Taylor just kind of, probably a bit of a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
It was a bit of like,
she said she said what everyone in the entertainment industry is thinking is what I'm going to go out on a limb and say.
Yeah.
She just said it in the wrong place, but I think her point is, like, quite a valid one. And that's the interesting thing. And I think that's what a lot of the noise missed. One thing is, like, Amelia, I don't think the thing is, she doesn't call herself a journalist, but she is more of an online personality. And I think the thing that she gets kind of doesn't get enough kudos for is, like, how smart she is of building that brand. And, like, she's obviously incredible in front of the camera, but it's more so that she's been plugging away at Chicken Shop Date for over 10 years.
Yeah.
She does all the planning. She does all the editing. The fact that she records for over an hour and then releases a 10-minute video is a level of creative control that I would only aspire to have, because I'd be like, we need the full hour. But she's so clever at knowing how it works. And it's interesting drawing that line to Alex Cooper, because I think she gets a lot of kudos for how incredible and smart and business-minded she is. Whereas I think the more you delve into her background, her personality on screen overrules that, especially recently with all the Call Her Daddy stuff that's come out, in terms of, like, she did a long form interview the other day with her childhood best friend, who it's only been confirmed that after many years is the producer of her show. She did the Call Her Alex documentary. And I guess I kind of knew this in my head, but, like, the team of people, the fact that she has a whole team of producers and researchers who prep her interviews for her, I feel needs to be looked at a little bit more.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying she's amazing. I'm not saying that I think she's doing well, considering she is not trained in that area. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying.
I don't mean this to sound bad, but when I heard how many people she has writing her questions for her, because up until then
I didn't realize that.
This is what I thought too. Up until then, I don't know why, but she had put herself out there as this, like, the mastermind behind her business. And I quite believe that was true, because I know that when she started Call Her Daddy, she was doing all the editing. So I guess I was thinking, like, considering the work she has to do behind the scenes and the fact that she's here, that's quite impressive. And now what I found out recently, how many people she has researching, writing the questions, doing all that stuff. And maybe that's jealousy from me being like, I wish I had someone to do that for my interviews instead of me like freaking out at nighttime by myself. But then when I realized the big team she had behind her, I was like, oh, you're here, but then maybe with that many people behind you, you should be up here. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things of realizing that she's not a one-woman band. She's part of an empire that she runs. I'm not saying that to be critical of her. I do think in many cases she is a good interviewer and she's successful. And I'm like, I listen to her podcast.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed.
It's just this interesting kind of line that now we're going through and we're being like, who's a journalist and who's not? Who's doing their own work and who's not. It's hard to, because you don't want to get into this thing where you're sort of having to like, everyone's got to pass some certain test. But as the muddier the waters get.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting when Taylor was like, I don't want to gatekeep journalism. I think that's a really big part of it. We could start having like a very in-depth conversation about journalism and integrity and like who deserve. We do that for hours. But I don't think anyone else wants to listen to that podcast. So what I will do before we finish, because I feel like we've gone quite deep, I do want to like lighten this back up a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
Can I give you some more of the categories?
Yes, please do.
Okay, just to show you how much Taylor should have probably realised that this was a complete joke. So these awards are actually airing on August the 5th. I think it's going on Peacock. I don't know where that will be in Australia. I'm sure
we'll find that for you because
we'll get that. We will definitely be watching it. But okay, one of my favourite categories is kindest greeting. And the nominees are stop. Oh my God. Oh, you're here? Then I won't leave. Number 3, you just got off a plane. I refuse to believe that because you look so amazing. Next one. Okay, sure. And the last one. We've met several times and I remember.
Love
that. So good. Great category. One of my favorites, honestly. It's a lot of fun. So poor Taylor has made a bit of a boo-boo.
She's kind of,
but we can forgive her.
At least this is the kind of internet storm that passes over so quickly that these people won't be talking about this tomorrow. But she'll remember. And she'll wake up at nighttime and think about this.
Bowen retweeted. Bowen reached out to her. I'd be happy to cop all that flack for Bowen Yang to
That's the thing.
approach me.
He's the only one who really could have come in and smoothed her over. Once he said that, it's like a tidal wave was coming for her and he stood in front of it and then the wave just went down again.
Yeah, he went, you
bless
shall
that
not
man.
pass.
Yeah, exactly. Bless that man and his internet power.